Hey YouTube, what's good? Have you ever noticed that black women who prefer light-skinned biracial men, they're low-key shamed. They're shamed. There's a little shame put on them. Like you shouldn't really be having that preference, right? And some black women, especially brown skin, dark skin black women, will often low key apologize, or with how, like for an example, like, oh, those are the men who approach me, which is true, which could be true, not saying that that's a lie, but you kind of feel the need to put that out there, right? Like, oh, it's not because he's light skinned, of course, right? you know, and oftentimes being shamed by a group of men who prefer their female counterpart. And you notice that, when black women try to shame black men for preferring the light-skinned biracial woman, then all of a sudden the gaslighting tactics come into play. You're jealous, you're angry, you're bitter. Like, hint, hint, this is why nobody prefers you. This is why nobody wants you. That's like really the hint, hint of it, right? Even though regardless, when you're in a colorist system, a system of colorism, it's going to be like that, right? Yeah. It's all very hypocritical, but the black community is full of hypocrisy, honestly. Ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new, right? Yeah. And also, something that needs to be mentioned. Some black women will shame black women for preferring biracial or light-skinned men. And those women, I think, are low-key gophers. Like, they'll go for anything, you know, that, especially if it's presented to them by a brown-skinned, dark-skinned man, And I think that kind of will circles back to wanting, like, dark-skinned black male approval. And I think they're doing that as a way to sort of gain approval. Like, look, I'm the special one. I'm different. I love black men. You know, I love blackness. Am so down. You know what I mean. It's kind of like how some black people do with white people, trying to be like, no, like I'm a different one. I'm like one of the good ones. Like, they kind of want to separate themselves from other black people so they can make themselves look like the good one for massa, because they want massa's approval, just like these black women, want these dark-skinned black males' approval. For some reason, I'm not quite sure what you're getting from it exactly. Um, but I guess a stamp of blackness, like, okay, you're black. Because black male, dark skin, brown skin, black males decide in the community who's black and who's not black. You know, some brown skin, dark skinned women are starting to push back on that type of thing. They're using their um, their voice and their numbers to push back on that. You know, especially when it comes to their image and themselves, definitely. And I don't shame them. I don't blame them. Continue. You know, I will help in any way that I can. You know, because I think ultimately that does benefit the health and well-being of the entire community. You know, you know. But I think it just speaks to the brown skin, dark skinned men. They are not They make sure to set up the playing field, so to speak, and make sure that it's set up in their favor. All right, they're being, you know, competitive. I guess not necessarily competitive. Well, I guess you could consider that competitive. They're putting themselves first, you know. And again, we all know when brown skin, dark skin, black women do that, they get shamed. We know that, right? They can't do that because it's not in brown skin, dark skin, colorist, folks, of course, and not in their best interest to have that, because then they start to lose access to that non-black adjacent light-skinned biracial female, which they ain't gonna give up a grip on that. That's the best thing that they got going for them. When it comes to wanting to date the exotic. And I think ultimately the shaming comes from, when it comes to the brown skin, dark skin men, they feel some type of way when they aren't preferred, as I think we all do to an extent. But I think it may hit them a little more than they may want to admit. Because, the brown skin, dark skin men are oddly fragile. Strangely fragile, Well, I think the light skinned light skinned biracial men are actually oddly or strangely resilient to be able to, if you're in this situation, in this community, I think that you are resilient, and I don't think we give ourselves, enough credit for that. We are resilient, despite the things that we go through, we don't lash out at people, we don't lash out at the biracial light-skinned women when they're, going, lusting after the dark-skinned dudes, or, we don't lash out at the brown-skinned women and dark-skinned women, saying that, making disparaging remarks about their features. We don't do that. And we don't even lash out at the brown-skinned, dark-skinned men that much. Actually, we defend them. Like, we almost will jump and take a bullet for some reason. No, maybe not quite, but along those lines, we pick up and take on their responsibilities as far as like black social justice advocacy, Yeah. And we don't shame them for liking biracial light-skinned women, but having, some sort of a bit of animosity towards their male counterparts. And being othered from blackness when convenient, and being pulled into blackness when convenient, when there's work, heavy lifting, like work to be done type shit, But yeah. So that's what I got to say for now. So thanks for watching, you guys. Feel free to comment. I really appreciate your comments. Until the next video, catch you later. Adios and goodbye for now.